On this week's The Masked Singer, we sang along to holiday classics and revisited some of our favorite performances. But in this week's episode, we revealed the final three, discussed some new clues, and me and Kyle share our winner prediction. Did we get it right, or will we be losing our jobs? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Mel.
And I'm Kyle.
And welcome to the Talent Recap Show. All right, you guys, it was another great week on The Masked Singer. It is the second to last episode before it all ends and we head into the finale. But we had some fun in this week's episode because it was a sing-along. Kyle, how did you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to see the holiday sing-along. It's just a little break from the guessing game, from the competitive performances. We just get to see, I especially love seeing the unmasked singers on stage do their thing. So like Tori Kelly singing Sleigh Ride. I mean, that was a highlight for me. And I just think it's fun to see them kind of in this different element and also celebrate the season.
Totally agree with you. One, she had that holiday album she was trying to promo. So yes, Tori, we see you with that. But also it was good to see the other characters say what their favorite performances was and, you know, take a flashback to those good times. So it was great to see.
Yeah, it was. And you know, next week we have a 2-hour finale that's happening. So there's an hour road to the finals and then an hour of the actual finals where we'll see the last 3 finalists unmasked. So pretty excited about that too.
Oh, Kyle, I'm very excited. Are you still feeling strong about your prediction?
Still feeling strong. There's only 3 to go, but we've done it well so far.
AKA, we're keeping our jobs, you guys. Now, if you didn't see last week's episode, both me and Kyle predicted that the Sun would win it all. Do you still agree with us? Do you not agree with us? There's a lot of debate going on in the comments. Let us know below why and why not you agree with us. But I think we're pretty solid here.
Yeah.
All right, so we have 3 contestants left. We have Crocodile, Sun, and then we also have Mushroom. Kyle, I think we should, go back and see, do we have any new clues? Do you have any updates? What's the tea right now?
Yeah, so I think, what makes the most sense at this point, we've already made all of our predictions, but now it's time to solidify those because some of them we made a long time ago. So let's start with the Sun.
Let's go, Kyle. Kyle has been one of the greatest Masked Singer detectives of all time, probably the only one. So let us know why the Sun is the Sun. What's the new clues?
All right, so we revealed that the Sun is, drumroll, LeAnn Rimes. And she was actually the first one we predicted this season. So I'll go through some of the early clues that led us to LeAnn Rimes and then also some of the latest clues that prove that it's her. So first of all, she talks about being a world record holder, and LeAnn Rimes is the youngest person to ever win a Grammy Award, or like a solo one for her version of Blue. We also, on that same line, have seen a lot of blue clues. So we've seen blue angels, blue butterflies, blue hearts, and all of those lead to her song Blue, which is kind of the first song that put her on the map, really. But even before that, we saw a Magic 8 Ball as well. And LeAnn Rimes was 8 years old when she was on Star Search, which was kind of her first look into the public space. And then also in the clues, we saw her soulmate talk about how they drove around in an RV. And I don't know if you remember, but the video that we saw of LeAnn Rimes singing "'Cause I Love You" that happened before was in an RV. So I think that's a weird coincidence there that has to pair them together. She also says that she's been certified gold, and LeAnn Rimes has a number of gold records. Now, while we can't personally say that she met Nicole Scherzinger in a bathroom like she claimed last week, that's something that makes sense because they've been nominated for a lot of the same music awards, so they would definitely be kind of at those events together. And in last week's clue, she also talked about how she feels like she's 5 again and talked about being at dance competitions. And LeAnn Rimes took dance classes and started performing in talent shows at age 5. So again, a very specific clue there. And last, we saw her breathing fire last week, which is a nod to her album called Spitfire.
Kyle, I mean, you know how I feel about you. You always hit the nail on the head, and especially with those newer clues.
Yeah, and again, these aren't all of the clues for all of the contestants, obviously. We're just doing a quick overview. But if there's anything that you feel like we've missed, let us know in the comments below.
Absolutely. So who do we have next?
All right, next we are going to unmask the crocodile.
One of my favorites, and a lot of people have been talking about the crocodile. First of all, Kyle, let us know, who is the crocodile?
Yeah, so the crocodile is, roll, Nick Carter.
Of
course, from the Backstreet Boys. So again, I'm going to talk about some of his biggest clues. We saw a lot of Vegas references in his clues, which the Backstreet Boys had a residency in Vegas. He also told this story about performing on a tree stump and how eventually, when he first got paid, he took that to his dad. And this is a story that basically word for word was in Nick Carter's biography. So that's a well-known story about kind of his rise to stardom. In one of the clues, his friend talks about how they toured 6 continents in 100 hours. And that's something that the Backstreet Boys did. I think it was around their Black and Blue album. So again, that is very specific, driving to the Backstreet Boys. He also talks about being in a cult classic movie, and we saw a slip and slide in his first clue package, and Nick Carter was the kid on the slip and slide at the beginning of Edward Scissorhands, which I would say is a cult classic movie. He also talked about having a connection to Craig Robinson last week, and the Backstreet Boys made a cameo at the end of This Is the End. Like, they were all dressed in white in heaven at the end of that movie, so that explains his connection to Craig Robinson. He also mentioned having 2 kids, which Nick Carter has. And then the pizza rat clue that we saw last week could either be a nod to the fact that he's from New York or that he's part Italian, because we've also seen an Italian flag in his clues before.
Listen, Kyle, once again, you know what you're doing. I support you. I mean, and once you hear that voice, it so sounds like Nick Carter.
100%.
But I will say, the comments have been saying that they feel that Crocodile is going to win it all. And they're kind of going against our prediction. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, only time will tell. So we'll see next week. That's the one thing that we can't perfectly predict, is who's going to win.
Well, hopefully we predict right, because I want to keep my job. I don't know about you.
Okay.
But next we have one more contestant left. And Kyle, who is that?
Yes, and so the last contestant is actually the latest one that we guessed, which was the mushroom.
Yes, the mushroom. Now, Kyle, me and you, we've had personal conversations about this. I know you were a little iffy about the mushroom, but you're solid in who you think it is. And you've got some more clues, so let us know.
Yes, now we're solid. The mushroom is aloe black.
Yes.
And so a lot of these clues we went over before, but he's mentioned that his name is not the same as when he first sprouted, and aloe black is not his real name. So that's one that really ruled out a lot of potential guesses that people were throwing out for mushroom. He talks about starting in a different job and in a rat race. We see the mushroom running with the briefcase, and aloe black worked at the accounting firm Ernst & Young before he started his music career. We also saw a talent show stage, which is a nod to The Cut on MTV, which aloe black appeared on as part of the group Eminon. He also, was referred to as class president, and that he had a 4.0, and those are things that aloe black has mentioned in interviews before as well. We saw a clue that was a brain at one point, and aloe black studied psychology at USC, so that's that connection as well. And then the latest clues that we got last week, one, he had a connection to Robin Thicke, and aloe black has performed alongside Robin Thicke at the Grammy Foundation Legacy Concert in 2015, and at the iTunes Festival in the UK, and at King's Theater in New York City. So they have a few concerts that they've done together that link them. He also talked about in his clues last week losing someone close to him, as part of this pandemic. And he was friends with a rapper named Ty, who he and his wife both posted Instagrams about when he passed away due to complications of COVID earlier this year. And finally, we saw an alarm clock that ended on a 3. And this could either be a nod to his song with Avicii, Wake Me Up, which was one of his biggest hits, or the 3 could be a nod to the 3rd in his name, because his birth name is Egbert Nathaniel Dawkins the 3rd.
The 3rd. Yes, Kyle. I mean, once again, all those clues, it seems like it's him. I totally agree with you. And I love how you're confident and you got this down now.
Yeah, we're back, baby. Especially when we heard him beatbox last week, too. I mean, aloe black can beatbox. So that was another thing that just sealed the deal.
Mushroom was definitely one of the hardest characters to figure out this season. Now, you guys, you've heard all three. Let us know, do you agree with one, me and Kyle's winner prediction? Two, do you agree with Kyle's predictions of who each of these characters are? And three, who do you want to win the Masked Singer this season? Let us know in the comments below. We love to chat with you guys and see what you're saying. But speaking of comments, Kyle, I think it's time for us to get into our comment of the week. So every week we choose one of your comments from a previous video and shout you out, love and/or hate, because we love you guys. And this week's comment comes from Wipeout Fan 14, who says, most of us believe that Seahorse was robbed of the finale. Also, the Masked Dancer will still have clue packages. Now, Kyle, I had to pick this comment because there's a lot of comments talking about how they felt Seahorse was robbed. And I just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I agree. I love Tori Kelly. I think I mentioned this before, but when we talked in previous seasons about who we'd most want to see on this show, Tori Kelly was like near the top of my list because I think she's such a talented vocalist and way underrated for how good she is. I mean, she's obviously won awards and all of these things, but I think she absolutely deserved this recognition, and I'm shocked that she went out before the finals.
Yeah, I'm really shocked, because it's Tori Kelly. You expect her to make it all the way through.
Exactly.
But I think it's also one of those things where it was the song choice, you guys. The song choice of the other ones is really what got them into the finale. So, Tori, she's a winner. She's out here promoting her holiday album, okay? So
yeah, and that's the other thing is seeing her on the holiday sing-along was so fun because I felt like she was holding back throughout the season because she didn't want to get too crazy with her runs that would immediately give her voice away. So when she was on that stage just doing her thing, she is insanely talented.
Of course. So shout outs to her. But the second half of this comment was talking about the Masked Dancer. So excited, you guys. So the Masked Dancer is coming out December 27th. And me and Kyle have previously discussed, we don't exactly know what's going to happen on the Masked Dancer because it's totally different. We're not getting singing, we're getting dance moves, and anybody could dance anyway. But this person is actually right. There is going to be clue packages. And Kyle, do you have any details on what's to come?
Yeah, I'm still nervous about this because the singing voice is a huge clue for us. And it's hard to say whether the dancing will have any clues in it in itself, right? If they'll have some signature moves or something that could give it away, or if we're going to be completely relying on clue packages. But that makes it a lot harder. I've also heard that each one of the dancers will have some period of time where they can say a few words in their actual voice. So we'll have a chance to hear them a little bit, but it'll definitely be, I think, much harder than the Masked Singer just from the get-go.
Absolutely. And also in a package previewing it, I also saw that the judges were asking a lot of questions and they were actually responding to them, obviously with their voice, being all disguised. But it was like, oh, are you good at acting? Oh, have you played sports before? So that discussion between the judges and the character is going to actually be clues as well. So it's going to be quite interesting.
I think that's funny because it has to be based off the Ellen skit that kind of led to this show being a thing, right? It was a parody of the Masked Singer that ended up on Ellen. She would have people on as these masked dancers, and then that kind of became its own show. And on Ellen's segment that she did on her show, they would ask questions. So I think, we're kind of seeing the evolution of that into a full show. So hopefully with the clue packages and with, the question and answer part of it, and possibly hearing some of their words and seeing their dancing, we'll be able to figure out who these people are too.
And Ellen is actually an executive producer on The Masked Dancer. So we're definitely going to see her influence all throughout the show. But I think it's time for us to wrap it up. Kyle, let everybody know where they can find you on social.
Yeah, you can find me at KMonPleasure on Instagram and Twitter.
And then you can find me at _MELBAE. But please make sure you're following Talent Recap on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You're on YouTube right now. So click that subscribe button and make sure you guys know it's Talent Recap on all platforms. But Kyle, I think it's time for us to say, and that's our Talent Recap.
Hey, what are you doing tonight? Well, I think you should hit that subscribe button down below and then we can talk.